Awesome. So we are recording. So I am Michelle from the Mompreneur Club. It is a group that we have that's totally free on school. And one of our amazing members is Rita. So I'm going to let her talk so she can describe it the best way she does, but she does a lot of stuff with branding. So
Mhm.
Rita, tell us a little bit about yourself, right? You're a mom, your life, those types of things about you specifically. And then we'll go into a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so yes, my name is Rita. I'm a mom of two young children, one's 6, almost 7, and the other one is 2.5. I like to say like I'm an old mom. I had my kids in my later, like mid to late 30s.
Mhm.
And it's been a juggle. I feel like I had my kids in my 30s, so I feel like my life and titles and identity changed in my 30s.
Mhm.
I went from like being just Rita to being a wife and then a mom of two, and lots of loss in between. So it was kind of a tumultuous 30s, lots of ups, lots of downs. In terms of who I am as a person, I've been, I think, just a very ambitious person, but also super quiet. I know that's kind of a weird mix, but I'm not the type of person to be like the loudest one in the room. I'm the type that you get to know in the corner of the room and just get to know them pretty well one-on-one. And I think that's kind of who I like to help other people who aren't, the biggest speakers, the loudest speakers. And then, so mom, wife, um, I'm from Salinas, California. So that's near Monterey and San Jose and San Francisco. Big sports fan of the Bay Area. And in the Bay Area, you do not like Southern California. So we don't like anything LA. And yeah, big sports fan. I grew up playing sports, which is weird. People don't think quiet people do that, but yes. And yeah, very family oriented. We're in the city that we're in because both of our families are here. And we wanted our kids to grow up with them. Um, Otherwise, we would have been in Silicon Valley, paying crazy amount of prices to live there. Um, yeah, I don't know what else there is.
Yeah. So, what are the types of things that you like to do,
Mhm.
with your family? So when you're not working on your business, I know you also have a
Yeah.
9 to 5. So when you're not doing
Mhm.
those types of things, like what are the types of things that you and your family like to do for fun?
I mean, before kids, my husband and I love to go to, like I said, sporting events. Like we would go
Hmm.
to a lot of like, um, they're the Giants up here, the San
Hmm.
Francisco Giants baseball team. We would go
Hmm.
to a lot of those, in the Niners football team. Um, but aside from that, once we had our kids, it's like all events that like will cater to their needs. Like today, we're going to the boardwalk. And last week, the summer is full of festivals. So we just try to do everything that like will enrich their lives. And then I know the weekends are full of just kind of like errands too. So like lots of that. But aside from like things that I just personally like to do, I'm such a nerd. I'm like a voracious learner. So I'm either like watching a course or learning something via a book, which is rare because I usually listen to everything because you got to multitask as a mom. Um, and then I do like baking a little bit. I'm not an amazing baker. I say if as long as it tastes good, it doesn't have to look good. Um,
Yes.
but aside from that, yeah, I think I just try to optimize every part of my life because I want to do a lot of things. I have to be very particular about what I focus on and
Mm,
um, just try to do the best at every single thing that I do.
mm. Love that. Cool. Okay. So yeah, it's funny because this is the first one that we've done with like the member
Mhm.
interviews. And now I'm like, I think I need to have like rapid fire questions in the beginning, just like, what's your favorite color? What's your
Yeah,
favorite food?
yeah,
Like, what's your
yeah.
favorite, like, I totally see how that is going to need to change. So cool. But, I think one of the biggest things that a lot of moms struggle with is like, how do they do the day to day?
Yeah.
So I'd also like to explore that a little bit. So what do you typically do on like the day to day? Like, what is that routine,
Mhm.
that structure, that schedule? Like, how do you manage that?
So, one of the other members, Mo, she helped
Mhm,
me kind of adjust my schedule because before I
mhm,
was doing a lot of my side business stuff at night and I would just
mhm,
be like so wrecked in the morning and it wasn't the best way to start the day. And I feel like the
mhm.
way you start the day is kind of going to indicate how you have the rest of your day.
Yeah.
So I now wake up super early. I wake up around like 4ish and I do my workout, which is not a crazy workout. It's just something to kind of keep me like loose and limber,
Yep.
and strong. And then I, shower, get ready, and then I work on my business for like an hour to hour and a half, really pending when the kids wake up. And then we get the kids ready. The kids' schedules. Now my daughter's back in school, so it's pretty consistent now. My son goes to one of the grandmas at one time, so it's really dependent. But like we have a consistent schedule. Okay, like you're going to this grandma at this time, and dad's taking you or mom's taking you. So we're pretty consistent about like now it's 7:00. You need to go get your teeth brushed or something. So we have a schedule. It's not written out or anything, but we know about that. And then in terms of like, and it's like the work day, and then the end of the day, it's just, now it's going to be like homework, dinner, family time, and then like the bedtime routine. But like as the days go, like I have like certain days I do laundry, and I'm very kind of specific about that, just because if I don't, then it just piles up.
Yeah.
And like certain days I do certain chores around the house. I think I mentioned it. I don't know if it was in your group or one of the other groups. I need to start getting the kids to start doing more chores.
Yes.
So yes, that's something that's on my list. But yeah, I try to be as consistent as possible. And I don't think that some people think like repetition is bad, but I think it's, I read like so many books on habits, and one of them really resonated with me, where it's like the habit now is like ingrained in your head where you don't have to think about it. So now you have, your brain is freed up to think about other things. So I personally like being in a rhythm of of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now, because you're building this business. So tell us a little bit about the business that you're building.
Yeah, so I have about 18 years of experience in the design agency realm. I graduated with a degree, and right after college, I had my first job. And some have been in agencies, some have been in-house, some have been with startups. So it's a range. And in that time, I've kind of always done things on the side. And it's kind of like, okay, it came to me, whatever. And then in the last probably like decade, I decided to build a business around it. But it was just, COVID hit. And so it's been a weird process, and like kids. So it hasn't been like a consistent schedule or process in that way. But before, it was like, okay, I'm getting the work, I might as well have a business around it. And in the last, I want to say like year, well, probably last year I took a half year off, but I really thought like I need to focus on it. And so now I'm going to finally get to the business. It's branding. Essentially, I focus on brand strategy, brand design, and then creative direction. I work full-time as a design director in an agency. And why I do this on the side is there's a couple of reasons. I've always wanted to be able to run my own business and know that I could do it. The second part is that I wanted to help women. Like that's one of the main reasons is I like to help women with their branding, because I feel like systemically women have not had, a leg up. I think in the 70s, that was the first time we could have our own credit cards or something by ourselves.
Yeah.
So like those types of things, I feel as if men have had like a crazy advantage. Any way that I can uplift and empower women's voices, I will, and I will try to help. And I do that through, my skills. And then I just, I want to show my daughter and my son that it's possible to do your own thing. And then, with COVID hitting, I never felt uneasy about my job. And then when it did, I was like, oh, okay, things are a little bit uneasy. So I just kind of want to have that runway in case anything happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so when you're doing branding, let's talk a little bit about, maybe some insights, some strategies around branding, so we can provide a little bit of value to the audience as well. So for a lot of people that are just starting out, right? Like typically you're going onto Canva, you're using Canva logos, you're using, right? Like you're just kind of dabbling. And that can be really intimidating. So I think
Yeah.
for someone who's just starting out, doesn't really have much of a budget, what would you
Mhm.
say is kind of the best way to like get the best brand out of what you have available to you?
Yeah, I think people probably aren't going to want to hear this, but your branding does not start with your visuals. Like, I think that's the last thing that you need to do. Truly, what branding is perception. So you need to figure
Yes.
out what what is that perception that you want to have with your ideal client. So I think once you figure that out via brand strategy, you may not think that it is brand strategy that you're doing, but it is just figuring out who you are as a person, what your point of view is, and how you want to be positioned, meaning like how you want your clients, your ideal clients to perceive you. And then figuring all of that out, then you can go onto your colors and your logo, because that, all your logo, your visuals, all of that should be speaking to exactly what you created in your strategy, because you want
Yeah.
everything to be saying the same message. Because it's like that consistency of knowing, oh, that's Michelle. She always has this color
Hmm.
and she talks about moms and businesses. Like people will know that on and
Hmm.
on. And that's what you want as that like brand recognition and brand recall. And if you don't have that, if you start with colors, then you're just going to go off trends and what you like. And maybe that's not aligned to what your audience will be attracted to or what you're trying to be perceived as. So I think that's kind of the first big step, is to start with strategy and figuring out who you are.
I love that. Who you are and who your audience is, right? Because you were just
Yeah,
saying,
that
like,
mix.
otherwise you're just being, I think that's one of the biggest things that I know I see, where it's
Yeah.
like a lot of people, they make something tailored to them. Like, this is who I am. This is what
Mhm.
I want to see. This is how I want it to look. But they don't think about their audience and what's actually attractive to their audience.
Yes. I know. And on most of my decks that I send off to clients, it's always at the very bottom. Remember, see this through your eyes of your audience.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. And then, so if somebody, so now maybe somebody's thinking about like, this is the vibe I want to
Mhm.
portray. This is the energy. This is the feeling. This is the ecosystem, the culture that I'm trying to create in my business.
Mhm.
They've come up with that. Maybe they've come up with like a branding board, right? Vision
Yeah.
board, all of those
Mhm.
different things. And they've done this all on Canva. How would somebody know whether they did a good job or not?
That's a good question. I think you could have it, so I would say you need to go to like find an ideal audience member. Like, a lot of these groups now in school and just like in member groups, they're so welcoming and giving back advice, especially women groups. So I think if you position it that way and just be like, what are you seeing on this? I think that a lot of people don't want to ask their ideal client or potential ideal clients, and getting feedback and getting that real time like validation,
Mm.
that's like so crucial. It's like what big businesses do. They'll do like what are they called, like focus groups, right? So
Yeah.
essentially you have these free focus groups, or they may not be free groups, but like you have these so many focus groups that are there for you, that are in these niched groups, to just let you know like, hey, this is what I perceived from your
Mm.
branding, from your mood board. And if you're getting all the right answers, then you know that you're on the right track. Or if it's not, then to tweak it. But I think also I would mention is, when you're just starting out, yes, do your strategy and that can inform your visuals, but it really doesn't truly, like, it's not the end all be all. Like
Mm.
when you're just starting, you're going to be pivoting a whole bunch.
Yeah.
So like even when somebody comes to me and they want to do branding, I'm like, take a year, take a
Yeah.
year, DIY it yourself. Once you're back in like a year and you're just like focused and understand who your audience is, and you've probably pivoted your offers quite a bit, then we can, make that investment of your branding truly like,
Mhm.
and have an ROI.
Yeah, that makes sense, that makes sense.
Mhm.
I like talking about it from the ROI perspective, because I
Mhm.
think a lot of times I see people investing in stuff that doesn't have the return, but just because it's
Yeah.
fun to invest in it, right?
Yes.
Or they think
Branding
it's
is
going to
fun to
have a return. Right, yeah.
yeah.
Or they think it's going to be,
Mhm.
a lot more like return on the investment than they realize.
Yeah. And I
Um,
mean, I feel like sometimes a lot of it is that confidence you get because you feel more
Mhm.
confident in your brand. You're like, oh, it looks amazing. So you will
Yeah.
put yourself out there. It's like kind of like that placebo effect.
Mhm.
So in a way, yeah, if you want to do that, if you have the means to invest, but I mean, if you have the means to invest, then yes. But
Yes.
if it's like a startup, where you have money behind it, but like for mompreneurs who are just by
Mhm.
themselves, yeah, I would say do the brand strategy and DIY it as much as
Mhm.
possible. And then when you're like making money and you have the time and means, then you can really truly invest.
Yeah. I love that. So we will have the links below in the description for anybody who wants to get any help from you or check out what you're doing. Did you have any other like insights or anything
Mhm.
else that you wanted to make sure that we talked about before we finish
Yeah.
up?
So I think I mentioned this in the group, but I'm creating these AI tools
Hmm.
that will help women. They're focused for women um, to to help them with their branding. And it's kind of the way that I'm positioning them is like it depends on where you are in your business, and that specific
Hmm.
tool will help kind of get it started. They're
Hmm.
like little sparks. Some like there's three that are ready. One is like if you're just starting, so it helps you, really hone in on who you are and your skill
Hmm.
set to help you define what kind of business you could have. And then the other one, I call it launch polish. So if you have a sales page, you can, it will prompt you to give them certain information like who your ideal audience is and all of that. And then you input your sales page and it reviews it. Like I trained it so that it has like my eye. So it's looking at it from a UI and UX
Hmm.
perspective, on a messaging perspective. Um, so that, I mean, and they're super, super, super affordable. I have
Yeah.
like the sales page or the sales price, pre-sales price right now is very, very, very affordable. And I'm probably going to be launching in a week or two. I'm not sure. But yeah, there are a couple of tools that are meant for women who are just starting out or just they
Mhm.
don't have the means to invest.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much for being here. I'm super
Yeah.
excited and I can't wait to put this in the group, let everybody, get to know you a little bit more and,
Thank you.
see how we got to get a workshop in the group too. So we got to make that
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me and doing all this. I know I felt very comfortable in your group since the
Yeah,
start.
absolutely. I did want to ask you too. So, you are in the Mompreneur Club. I know I've seen
Mhm.
you, do quite a few things in there as well. Just for some feedback from me, I'd like to kind of talk a little bit about maybe some of the things you like about the group and then
Mhm.
maybe some of the things that we can do to improve it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm in like a handful of groups in there.
Hmm.
And yours, and I think like maybe like two others, I've always felt very comfortable in.
Hmm.
I never felt like, if I throw in something that's more like, hey, I need feedback on this sales thing, or like it looks like a pitch, I wouldn't like, get my hand slapped because I don't
Yeah.
think I do it very often. Um, but yeah, I've always felt very comfortable and like the questions in there, it makes you kind of giggle because it's very relatable. Like it's
Yeah.
mompreneurs. So like we all get it. And just knowing like you're not alone in that,
Hmm.
it feels very validating.
Hmm. I love that. Do you think like is there anything that you feel like we could be doing to improve the group
Um, I
or
mean, like
anything
you
you feel like
mentioned,
that's missing?
so like in some of the so this is a free group, so it's like
Yeah.
you can't do a lot more, but I know in the other groups that I'm in that are paid, and I'm sure you have like 10 times more things in your paid one,
Mhm.
where it is like, yeah, there's workshops and all of these other things, but I know you have a bunch of
Mhm.
courses and classes in your free group too, so I think
Mhm.
that that's super super helpful for people just starting out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything more you can do. I think what you're doing right now is amazing.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, of
I
course.
appreciate it. Well, awesome. We will finish this up. I will get it put up into the group pretty soon. And thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.